What's up, guys? My name is Tim. This is New Craft Workshop. If you've been here before, as always, welcome back. We truly appreciate you. If this is your first time, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Give us a big thumbs up at the end of this video, and hopefully you'll take some time to leave us a brief comment down in the description. Really helps our channel out. So about 7 months ago, I made a tote storage cabinet for my garage, and I was still kind of new to YouTube. I was still learning my way around as far as build processes and being in front of the camera and all that stuff.
It's a lot harder than you think.
And since then, I've had a lot of you guys email me, message me, hit me up on Facebook and Instagram asking for dimensions, cut lists, diagrams, SketchUp drawings, etc. for the particular tote storage we built. So today's your lucky day because I need another one. And today, my video style has changed dramatically. So you're going to get a cut list and you're going to get a tool list and you're going to get links to the things that you're going to need to finish out this tote storage. And it's going to be nice because then you're going to have everything you guys have been asking me for the past couple of months. And I take the blame. My first video wasn't really what it should have been, but today's is going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this entire thing out of 2x4s, and we are going to need 25 of them. Now, one of the dimensions I'm going to give you is going to be for the horizontal pieces. And when you see the cut list, you'll see them labeled as 32 inches. You'll be able to get 3 of those out of a 96-inch board if you cut them about a 1/16 of an inch short and just do maybe an 1/8 of an inch short. Just cut each one to like 31 7/8 or 15/16, and you'll be able to get 3 of them out of one 2x4. That's how I came up with 25 2x4s for this particular build. So as always, here on the channel, we're going to start with our cut list. Now remember, all of this is 2x4s. I do have a cheat sheet, so I'm going to look down at this as I tell you what's up here. So we're going to need 4 pieces. These are going to be cut to 87.5 inches long a piece. This is going to make up our top and bottom of our front frame and our back frame. You are going to need 10 pieces cut to 70 inches long. Those are going to make up our 5 vertical pieces for our front frame and our 5 vertical pieces for our back frame. And then to connect those 2 frames, we're going to need a bunch of horizontal runners. That's where not only is it going to connect the front and the back, but that's where our totes are going to rest when we slide them in. We're going to need 32 of those at 32 inches. Now remember, cut them about a 1/16 short so that you can get 3 out of one 2x4. If you cut them 32 and 32, your last one's going to be about an 1/8 to maybe a little bit longer off. If that doesn't bother you, do it that way. I would just say cut them all about a 1/16 short and you'll get them all out. Now, we're going to need 6 swivel casters, 3 for the front, 3 for the back. And why 6? Because this thing is wide, it's heavy, and it's going to sag in the middle. The first one I built, I realized after I got it all together and got all my totes in it, it was sagging, so I had to add 2 extra casters to the middle. Make sure they all swivel. You don't want rigid casters. It's very difficult to move this thing around if your casters on one end are rigid. Make sure that they all swivel. That way you can just kind of maneuver this thing, slide it up against your wall, and make sure they lock once you get it done. I'm going to put a link down below to the casters that I used for this particular build. If you're interested, you can pick those up on Amazon, and I will tell you that they are extremely good quality, and they are extremely smooth, and they all lock into place. So that being said, here's your tool list. Not really. I'm not putting one up there because the only thing you need is a saw. You just need to get all of these 2x4s cut to length. You're going to need a drill, of course, to drive the screws in. Speaking of screws, you're going to need a ton. I would be willing to bet we probably go through 200 plus screws. So if you're buying your boxes at the big box store, which you shouldn't, shameless plug, link down below to the screws I use. I pick them up on Amazon 1,000 at a time and you'll save money. But if you're getting them at the big box store, you're going to need at least 2 boxes of an exterior grade screw, and I am using 2.5 inch long screws. So that is our tool list. That is our cut list. It's time to start this assembly, so let's get after it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our 4 pieces that are going to form our top and our bottom, and we're going to mark out where all of our other 2x4s are going to get mounted. So from the end, We're going to make a mark at 1.5 inches because we're going to have one flush on the end. And then our gap in between each of these particular units is 20 inches. So we're going to come to 21.5 and make a mark, and then one at 23. We're just going to put a little X in there. That's going to show us where our vertical pieces are going to get lined up. And then we're going to come back with our framing square, and we're going to mark these across all 4 boards. So now from 23 inches, we need to go 20, which puts us at 43, and then 44.5 plus 20 is 64.5. And I'm actually going to have to go around here, and you might not see me for a second.
I can still see you.
But I'm still going to tell you where 64.5, and then 66, and then 86, and then you're at 87.5 for your final cut. Or I'm sorry, your final mark where you're going to mount. So 1.5, 21.5, and then 1.5 for each width of our 2x4. And then I'm just going to carry this mark across all 4 boards. Right here is where 2x4 1 is going to go. This is our second 2x4. And then just go all the way down and mark all of these out. Then when we lay this down on the ground, you're going to be able to have a mark where we want our vertical pieces to line up to, so we can drive our screws through and mount them. I'm going to flip around here real quick. I'll be right back. All right, now that all of this, and I was telling you, you're going to need a lot of clamps. Look, 2x4s from the big box store are not going to be extremely straight and precise. You can see these have a ton of bow in them, but I promise you, once this all comes together and everything is screwed in place, it's going to hold, and it's going to be square, and it's going to be just fine. Let me pull this clamp. All right, so we're going to move down to the ground over here. I'm going to move the camera just a second, guys, and show you. We're going to get one of these assemblies put together. I'm going to do both of them. I'm just going to show you one on camera. We'll do both of them, and then we will start getting those put together with all of our horizontal pieces. So let's get after this. All right, so if you've ever framed out a wall before, this is the same exact concept here. We're going to butt joint our vertical pieces to our horizontal pieces. Now remember, this is lying down. I'm going to raise this up. Once this is assembled, I have 2 of these to build. Once these 2 are built, I'll move them in front of the camera for you guys, and then I'll show you the process to get the vertical pieces installed. This is going to be very repetitious, and when I tell you we're going to go through a bunch of screws, I mean, we're going to go through a bunch of screws. So I'm not going to bore you with all of that. Like I said, I'm going to get this particular component assembled. I'll fast forward it when I edit it. Know that we're building 2 exactly like that, and I'll see you guys in a minute when it's time to get everything put together. Half. We got 1 more of these to go, and then we can start putting our horizontal pieces in place. So I'm going to do this one off camera. I know it's boring. Let's get after it. All right, we're back. 32-inch pieces, or 31 7/8. 13-inch blocks that I told you I would recommend that you cut. If you don't want to cut these, you don't have to. But the reason that we're doing that is because we can drop these in place right here. Set our board across here. Screw this in place, and we know that each and every one of these are going to be spaced exactly where they need to be. Cut yourself a couple spacer blocks. I promise, it's so much easier. So this, again, is going to be very repetitive. As you can see, I have clamped a couple of our boards. Well, I clamped one. Good enough, safety first, right? But hey, it's holding it. And look, once we get about 2 or 3 of these in, I'm going to do the row across the bottom first. It's going to stabilize this thing and hold it nice and secure. So the first thing we want to do is we just want to line up our front edge right here, get this driven in place. Then we can go to the other side, manipulate that back panel just a little bit, get it all lined up and get that in. And you'll see that this thing will start to square itself up as we start to drive more and more and more of these in. Even though dimensional lumber tends to have bows, warps, bends, crap going on with it, if everything is cut to the right length and everything is cut square, this thing will pretty much square itself out because of the amount of pieces we're putting in here. So again, tons and tons of screws. As a matter of fact, here we go. I thought I was out already. And because we are doing totes in either side, hopefully this is common sense, but our outside is going to get 4 horizontal runners. And then each of these 3 boards in the middle are going to get a runner on either side because we do need to be able to put a tote in each one of these cavities. So let's get this thing started. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing on camera. If not, use your imagination. You got this. And I'm going to put 2 screws in each one of these boards. I do want as much bite as I can get here. So we're going to put this board in place. And as you can see, look, this pulled away back here. We're just going to kind of move this forward just a little bit, kind of get this lined up as best we can. And once we get, like I said, about 4 of these installed, this thing will start becoming a whole lot more stable and it will square itself up. So a couple more screws here. And then we just keep repeating this process. And I will tell you, since I've built one of these once before, this gets very repetitious. You probably want to grab some earbuds or some headphones because you're going to be here a while. So I'm going to get mine and I'm just going to fast forward this as fast as I can to show you that you can do this in like 45 seconds on hyperspeed. So let's get after it. All right, that's done. Told you we're going to need some clamps for this. Most of the clamps we're going to use today are just to kind of pull things together. Again, dimensional lumber from the big box store is not perfect. This is a tote storage. We're not expecting perfection. So as you can see, this is done. This thing is extremely sturdy as it is. If you want to put a diagonal brace or 2 on the backside of your cart, that is your own personal preference. It is not necessary, but it is not something that is going to hurt anything. It's just going to help stabilize this a little bit more. So we're going to flip this thing on its side, put our 6 casters on, and this thing is done. Let's get after this. All right, it's time to get these casters installed. And what I normally do is I will take, oh, and by the way, yeah, you can see this got flipped up on its end, but that's another thing in itself. I would recommend lying it down on its side instead of sitting it up on its end, but that's how I did it. So basically, when I install my casters, I'm going to just take my caster and I'm going to center it in my material and I'm going to mark 1 hole. I only pre-drill 1. I don't pre-drill all 4 of these because we are driving these in with our impact driver, and I am using screws with a hex head on them. These are going to be plenty strong enough, and there's really no need to drive it in if you're using a socket and driving them in that way. So all I'm going to do here is mark 1 hole of the 4 in each one of these, and then we're going to drive in a bunch more screws, and then this thing is complete. So let's get after this. All right, that is it. 16 tote storage made from 2x4s. This particular video, I gave you everything you could possibly need to get out in your shop and build one of these yourselves. I gave you dimensions for our cavity width, spacing between our runners. I even gave you guys a cut list and links in the description for the screws and the casters that I used here building my tote storage in my shop. So if you get out in your shop and you build one yourself, please send me some pictures. I am on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me at Newcraft Workshop. While you're there, give me a follow. I will follow you back. If you don't have access to social media, here's my email address. Please send me some photos. I really would like to get a compilation video put up of all of my subscribers' projects that you guys have built, especially the ones that are inspired by ours in our beginner and intermediate series that you make it your own. So, real quick before I wrap this up, two things. One, if you've stuck with me this long, congratulations. I want to do a simple little giveaway this video. I do giveaways occasionally. I am a firm believer in Basecamp dust masks, and I'd like to send somebody a mask or two. I've actually got a couple that I'll give away. All I need you to do is leave a comment or become a new subscriber. I'll randomly pick someone in 3 or 4 days and I'll shoot you a message and I'll get you a free dust mask made by Basecamp. If you don't know who Basecamp is, they are phenomenal dust masks, the most comfortable mask I've ever put on in my shop. And because of that, I actually wear my mask when I'm out here. So if you're like me and you don't want to wear one, you'll like this. So subscribe or leave me a comment or both, and I will enter you into a random drawing. Also, we have a great community that we have established here at Newcraft Workshop. Down in the comment section, you guys are full of information, ideas. There's so many people out there that are learning from our channel, but there's also so many of you out there that have contributed ideas through the comment section that I listen to and respond to. So that being said, I want to expand our reach and I want to continue to do things like giveaways and stuff. And if I'm being honest with you, I could use your support. So if you are willing and able, there's going to be a link down in the description to a website called Buy Me a Coffee. It's basically you just click on and buy me a coffee, contribute a little bit financially to assist Newcraft Workshop in expanding our reach. Options on YouTube, if I'm being honest with you, are very slim for beginners woodworking, and I really want to help that niche grow on YouTube. There are a ton of people who are interested in woodworking but have no idea how to start. I want to help kind of get these people inspired to start their woodworking journey. That's all I got for you today. Links are down below for items, buy me a coffee website, and anything else you might need, ask in the comments. As always, I appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with me, and I will catch you on YouTube.